Greetings Nerdy List aficionados and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Today we're talking about Harley Quinn and some of her hookups outside of Joker and Poison Ivy. You have to look around. The spotlight is on Harley and you know I love doing these couples vids. When they come up I'm always like, pick me, put me in coach. I'm Sasha and these are the top 10 Harley Quinn hookups you didn't know existed. With the caveat that some of you may be Harley Quinn experts and have heard of all of these. But I hope some of these will throw you off, throw you through a bit of a loop. Let's get started. Number 10. Nightwing. We're gonna try to go from more well-known to less well-known. So Nightwing and Harley were featured together prominently in the animated film Batman and Harley Quinn, which saw the dynamic duo teaming up with Harley Quinn to take down Poison Ivy, who had teamed up with the Floronic Man, whose name I can't say. During this, after besting Nightwing in a fight, Harley ties Dick to a bed and then has her way with him in a scene that people have different reads on, from oh my, so hot, to ew, that's creepy, reverse the roles and see how it plays in your mind. But this isn't the only time these two have hooked up. They also found themselves together briefly in Grayson, in an almost Gotham style story where a group of Nightwing villains are hanging around discussing encounters with him, and Harley was able to identify the man she was with as Nightwing because of his kiss. Nightwing must have a very distinctive kiss.
Right now, I just really need to find poison.
Shh. Face it, sugar. I got something you want and you sure as shootin' got something I want.
Number 9. Deadshot. So Harley took up with Deadshot Floyd Lawton when she was made a member of the Suicide Squad in the New 52, but this version of Harley was not the most stable. She was fresh off the loss of Mr. J, the Joker, and she was looking to fill that void with someone she found comparable, and for a while that man was Deadshot. It all came to a head when she ended up taking the Joker's face, which he had had the doll maker remove, and placed it over his and tried to make out with him. Deadshot was like, that's too much. I don't want to deal with this. I miss Catman. He made me eggs. These two's relationship has since been revisited in movies, both animated and live action, such as Assault on Arkham, which was animated, and The Suicide Squad, kinda. Mostly it was in Assault on Arkham. He knew what he was getting into there though, but went with it anyway.
Welcome back. Did you miss me?
What do you want?
I got an itch I thought you could help me scratch, cowboy.
Number 8. Rick Flag. Another member slash historically the leader, now wherever they want him to be, part of the Suicide Squad. Rick Flag and Harley end up sharing an intimate moment. This is while Zod is trying to cut his skull open with his own laser eyes, just on the panel beside them. The Rebirth Suicide Squad arc was interesting. There was an arc where everyone's sanity was reversed and Harley was the only sane member of the team. It was a fun dynamic. Rick Flag slips through the cracks of characters, and Suicide Squad did him no favors, but he's interesting, I swear. I feel like I say that so often in these vids. They're not boring, guys, I mean it though. The characters that managed to stick around, they have something to offer. Number 7. Red Tool. Coming at us from Harley Quinn's solo series, we have Red Tool. So Red Tool is a clear ripoff of Deadpool. He's wearing almost the exact same costume, he's zany, he quasi fourth wall breaks, his speech bubbles are made up of tool shapes, and he absolutely loves Harley, is devoted to the point of obsession. And she eventually becomes his friend, but at first just treats him how she wants. But why is Red Tool here? Well, that's the interesting bit. For years now, one of the most popular ships, so fandom-based pairings, though a ship can also be a canon one, this one is fanon, and is between Harley Quinn and Deadpool. Fans felt that these two would match and would have the zaniest fun, and that as much of a mess as Deadpool is, he'd be better for her than the Joker. But since Deadpool is from Marvel and Harley is from DC, this is a crossover ship, so this is not a likely possibility in the future. Though these companies have done numerous crossovers in the past, one doesn't appear to be imminent at the time of this recording. So instead, DC decided to do the next best thing with this Deadpool stand-in. Though if you're not familiar with the ship, this probably just came across as odd. How did all of you feel about Red Tool? Thoughts? Feelings? Number 6. The Creeper. So this is from Batman the Animated Series, the 4th season, the New Adventures one, where Tim was Robin and Nightwing was off brooding. So this series took a stab at adapting the Creeper, who is Jack Ryder, and who has been floating around since his creation and now isn't really used that much, except for the odd appearance here and there. He was supposed to be a heroic take on the Joker, hence the similarities in their appearance. The wild green hair, that's about it really. So this version that appeared here was hopelessly besotted with Harley Quinn, and personality wise he was actually a lot like Freakazoid. Harley wanted nothing to do with him, creating an attempt at humor, the dynamic being that the good Joker loved her and the bad Joker was more lukewarm, though he wasn't down for anyone stealing her either. This was a very one-sided thing. Harley's never too into it, but I'm sure the Creeper has a different version. How did they expect him to be well received with a name like that? He sounds like he's just gonna be there standing outside of people's windows. A hero, the Creeper. Come come to save us all. Number 5. Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. This occurred in Harley's Little Black Book series, a madcap adventure series that saw Harley going off on a bunch of wacky, adventures. One of which saw her having to be taken down by the Green Lantern Hal Jordan after finding herself overwhelmed by a Red Lantern power ring, red being the color of rage on the Lantern emotion spectrum. So eventually the two ended up sorting everything out, and Harley demands a kiss from Hal, his favorite form of payment to give. However, when it comes to booty grabs, all bets are off. Still, this is a couple that I could see being revisited, but they probably won't. Prove me wrong, please. Number 4. Mason Macabre. Mason appeared in the New 52 as a new love interest for Harley. At that point in the New 52, they were like, what are Harley's core personality traits? I don't know, love interests? So, enter Mason. He was an ex-con and she ended up falling for his brash attitude. They ended up as a couple for a bit, and they were even making out covered in blood the whole 9 yards. Mason was okay, but he wasn't a fave with fans exactly, especially not with Ivy around. So he ended up just kind of fading, and then he got killed on screen as pathos for Harley. The big no. Cause why not? Fridging is equal opportunity no matter what people try to tell you. Really, it's mostly side character syndrome. Are you not the main character? Did you at one point say something nice to the main character? Well, get your affairs in order, because you could die at any moment. People are at your door right now. Number 3. Bruce Wayne. The idea of Harley and Bruce Wayne has been floating around since the Batman animated series days in the 90s, which makes sense as this is where Harley made her first debut. She would find herself drawn to both Bruce Wayne and Batman over the years, but in comics has had crushes on Bruce Wayne and even gone on a date with him in Gotham City Sirens. Also some quasi-date stuff in Harley Quinn. Bruce doesn't seem to mind it, but he's always a little bit wary, A, of a Joker relapse, and B, she's just very dangerous in her own right. Can you imagine this though? The Joker's head would explode. She's with Batman, not him. He'd blow up the city. Number 2. Lobo. We once again have Harley's Little Black Book to thank for this one. She ends up blipping across space and finds herself coming across the main man himself, who's out looking for a bounty. These two had an interesting dynamic, with it being Harley who is the more level-headed of the two, and Lobo is the more emotional member of the crew. Crew of two? Duo? These two would find themselves drawn to each other, but it doesn't get too far because of a giant space snake. Isn't that always the way? Well, it's all good, because this pairing would also be dealt with in the Injustice verse, but I mean so would Harley and Green Arrow. Kinda. Number 1. Waylon Jones, aka Killer Croc, from Old Lady Harley. So Old Lady Harley was a series that was not Old Man Logan, but was riding the resurgence of popularity in that trend. It was a thing. The Spidey Pool comic did it too, with old Peter and Wade having adventures. Well, one adventure. This universe would be set in a dystopian future where she was sporting a kind of Mad Max look and Red Tool is there. Hooray! She's fighting gangs and taking names. And it's revealed that Killer Croc is one of her ex-husbands. How? Why? Cause why not? Harley and Croc don't have a terrible relationship in main continuity, they never have, but this felt a little out of left field. This comic was interesting, it's definitely an experience, I'll say that much. So those were 10 Harley Quinn hookups you won't believe. How many had you heard of? Which was your fave, if any? Thanks so much for watching Top 10 Nerd. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe and tell me everything you think down below, and also hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.